Hello, my beautiful friends. Welcome back to another episode of Soulful Living with Megs. As always, I am so grateful that you're here with me today. The fact that we get to share this space, this moment of connection where we get to find some peace within, hopefully, and just leaning into the journey of living more intentionally and more mindfully and more soulfully, if you will, together. It means so much to me because I really do feel like you are working toward that dream life that you have for yourself, as am I, and I just love that we are on this journey together. And I'm actually way more energetic now that we get to sit and talk to each other. Today is Friday as I'm recording this, and it was such a drag at work. It's beautiful weather outside, so I'm going to go to the park after this, I think, but oh my gosh, I was struggling to keep my eyes open, and I had to chug a friggin' Diet Coke to hopefully get that caffeine intake, and I was so tired, but as I'm sitting here, I feel so rejuvenated that we get to spend this time together. It truly means so much to me. Today's episode is something that I figured was a good topic to bring up today because it's coming straight from my own lived experience over the past few weeks. And as you've obviously clicked on it with the title, we are going to talk about the importance of slowing down. And I always have thoughts, as you guys know, because I'm a yapper and all I do is talk. I, of course, have some thoughts regarding this topic. But I want to take you back to a few months ago. I mentioned in my past episodes that I just had a 2-week vacation from work, and prior to this vacation, months ago, I had this perfect vision of how it was going to pan out. I was so excited to take the 2 weeks off. I figured every single morning I'd go to the gym, and then basically the rest of the afternoon, evening would be filled with beach days, sun tanning, reading at the park, all of these nourishing meals, and I was feeling so good about it. And the fact that I planned so far in advance, it was just the anticipation of leading up to it. I was so genuinely excited. And of course, as life happens, and as life often does, things started shifting and, plans changed. And the trip kind of turned, or my little staycation, if you will, turned into me going to my favorite place to visit my family. It was only for 24 hours. I flew in. No, I didn't. I took the ferry for my cousin's baby shower, and then I came back really quick because I was going to Tate McRae's concert, which was so much fun. And then, the rest of the week was going to commence with all of my plans, and then I was going to go to the island again the following week, and just really taking in that ideal staycation that I had. And then, of course, amongst all of that, months ago, or even not even that many months ago, I found out I was moving kind of last minute. So naturally, my time off quickly morphed into, okay, well, I can pack as well as being off because, I'm not going to have this many hours in a day when I'm working to pack all my stuff. And so I did a majority of that, which was great. And it led to a great head start. And if you guys know me in real life, I'm a bit of a control freak. I stress out easily, shocker. And so I really wanted to make everything as organized and seamless as I could so that I don't have a lot to do this last week here as I'm moving next weekend. And I don't think these plans were bad at all. I think it all made sense in my head, and I was feeling super productive, and then all of that. And then, of course, I am at my work party, and then I hurt myself, and I sprained my ankle. And this is the last time we're going to talk about my sprained ankle, but I haven't had an injury that suppressed me from doing so much in a really, really long time. So I have been complaining about it. But anyway, the point of that is that basically hurting myself threw a wrench in all of my plans that I had for my vacation. And then I wasted basically an entire day of my vacation in urgent care. And then, of course, trying to actually relax and elevate my foot and spend time on the couch and be a couch potato, which I love, but I didn't want to do during that, those 2 weeks. And so everything that I was excited about came to this halt. And the fact that I finally had time for me and all of the plans that I wanted to do during the day, and I couldn't necessarily do those anymore, I was frustrated. And the first few days of me being injured, I was kind of in denial of the fact that I couldn't really do much because I was still up and moving. And despite the fact that my doctors were like, maybe you shouldn't, it didn't actually hurt to bear weight. It was just sore after a bit of walking. But, with my first week being so jam packed of so many different things, and then suddenly my second week off, I was forced to slow down and I didn't really want to. As I said, I was still kind of trying to do as much as I could with the plans that I still had. But as I've come back into work this week, I've had a full work week. I don't know about you guys if you've worked all week. I feel like it felt really long, kind of dragged on. But anyway, the feeling when I was at work, the feelings of feeling rushed, the pressure, the go, 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 I kind of started reflecting this week, and I was thinking to myself, was this injury maybe a sign? Was it a forced pause because I hadn't actually taken a real pause in so long? And truthfully, I feel as though this is such a common experience for everyone, but your body always tells you when you need a rest. And my body had been feeling it for a bit with all of the stress, all of the fatigue, the constant doing. I was really putting a lot of pressure on my body. And in conjunction to that, I've been working really hard at healing my nervous system, trying to stay out of the fight or flight that I've been in for as long as I can remember. And so I try to be more mindful, more grateful, more still, but perhaps I wasn't doing enough to actually slow down. And perhaps this event that occurred with me hurting myself was just my reminder. And honestly, I think this is something we can all take to our lives, is that if we don't slow down, our body will make us slow down. Life will present us with something to force us to slow down. And once I let go of the expectations that I had and just accepted the situation that I was in, honestly, the rest of my time off was really great. And I spent time with my friend Camilla pretty much every day last week, which was fantastic because I was supposed to be gone for half of that week anyway. And so we walked slowly to the park and laid out in the grass, and I watched some old school nostalgic movies that I haven't seen in years. Her and I started a new series. If you've ever seen Bridgerton, we're on season 1. I've never seen it before. She has, but years ago. Honestly, it's kind of fire. It's pretty good so far. Anyway, we started that series, and then I even slept in a bit, despite the fact that I wasn't really asleep in, but I was still sleeping in, not waking up at 5:30 to go to the gym still. And I moved my body when I could, but more importantly, this past week that I was off, I just listened to what my body needed. And even now, as we're talking, I am listening to my body. And as I said earlier, I was so tired today at work, and I feel the fatigue literally sitting on my shoulders. And so I decided today's going to be a rest day, and that I'm not going to go to the gym and work as hard as I can because, I want to be energized and equipped to work out tomorrow and on Sunday. And so this all kind of inspired me to create this episode today. And that was a super long intro to say all of that, but I am excited to dive into this topic with you more and to really discuss the importance of slowing down and why we need to slow down. And so, as always, I just really want you to take whatever resonates with you in today's episode, leave the rest of it out. Really, what speaks to your soul and your mind, please take that. As you guys know, we live in a world that basically glorifies busyness all of the time. We are constantly chasing the next thing. We are trying to fill every minute of time that we have, most of the time, give or take. We are constantly trying to multitask and also believe that we are masters at multitasking, even though sometimes we're not. And somewhere along the way, we have kind of started to believe, and definitely this is a societal condition that we have been forced to believe over the years. We believe that if we're not being productive, we're suddenly falling behind in life. But I'm here to remind you that that is just not true. And one of the other reasons why I wanted to create today's episode was because I read a blog on a site called Your Time to Grow, which of course will be tagged in the show notes, but I loved it. And there was something in it that really stuck with me. And this quote said, "Slowing down is not about doing less. It's about changing your mindset." And I want you to let that sink into your mind for a moment. You're not doing less. It doesn't mean that you stop moving altogether. It truly means that you are becoming more intentional about where your energy goes. The fact that you get to give yourself permission to be in the moment is that changing of your mindset instead of constantly rushing to the next thing. And it's not about laziness. If you're doing less, you're not being lazy. It is self-preservation, and then you're choosing in that sense to be present over being as productive as you think you're being, because chances are if you're juggling 8 million things in your hands, are we actually being that productive? Probably not. The amount of times that I've tried to multitask and do so many things at one time, the result is never as good if I'm just focusing on one thing at a time and then moving on to the next. And also allowing myself to have breaks in between. And I really hope that you feel that same way. I'm sure I'm not alone in that, but it's so true. Let's talk about the actual benefits of slowing down. And this blog talked about all of these. So we're going to pull those points from there and then we'll just kind of dive into it. Because I know I'm not the only one that needs to hear it and be reminded that I need to slow down. But I really just want us to reiterate these points because even when we're in work, like, I notice myself in the office, if I'm rushing, I will literally physically run into things more. I will drop things. I will be so sporadic in my mind if I'm just not allowing myself to take a step back, to take a pause, to be grounded in the moment and then proceed. So I'm sure I'm not alone in that, but it's definitely in my nature to kind of rush around because, again, I'm trying to do so many things and be as productive as I can. But then, that nervous system is heightened and we really don't love that. We don't want to live in fight or flight. Okay, so the benefits of slowing down are presence over productivity. When you slow down, you actually are allowing yourself to engage fully in what you're doing. And that ultimately amplifies joy, connection, and meaning into your everyday life experiences. Another benefit is that you'll live in a state of mindfulness and that will be your baseline moving forward. So you'll be more tuned to your emotional needs, to your thoughts, to actually how you feel and what your emotions are. And that self-awareness that you then have for yourself just leads to more growth in your life. You will cultivate gratitude, which is something that I feel like we as humans could always have more of, is gratitude. But when you're not rushing, you truly notice more in your life and what's around you. And that ultimately will lead to a greater appreciation for every single small moment in your life. And then to tie into that, it basically elevates how you're going to romanticize your life. And I'm a big believer in romanticizing every single part of your life, even those mundane tasks, because it just makes life feel that much more special when we're here on this earth. But you truly begin to notice more when you slow down, when you're not rushing, and then you can actually be grateful, like truly grateful, instead of just saying that you're grateful for something or saying thank you. Like, you actually take in that appreciation and notice it. You will be better at decision making, which fantastic. But not rushing will give you time to reflect. It'll give you time to listen to your inner voice, one that is truly aligned with your values and your morals. And then that, when you slow down, it'll get louder and clearer because, along the way, we have to make decisions every single day of our life. That inner voice is always speaking to you, but if we are rushing around, sometimes we miss it. But if we allow ourselves to reflect, to think before we speak and act, it will get louder and clearer to be more aligned with what you believe in and how you want to move in this world, which is just amazing. We just love that. You will develop deeper relationships. And I think that this one is a huge thing because as humans, we thrive on connection with each other. But being fully present with your loved ones by slowing down will strengthen your connection. And rushing can often cause strain and conflict in relationships when we don't want, because, you're not really being present. Are you really listening? Are you really actually reflecting, letting the connection, thoughts, discussions seep into your soul? Or are you just in one ear, out the other kind of thing? But being fully present with the people that you love absolutely creates more trust and warmth, and then enhances that relationship. So I think that in itself is such a huge reminder that I think when that strengthens, everything around you kind of just grows and flourishes beautifully. But all of these benefits are at the tip of our fingertips if we just take a moment to slow down. If you have been feeling guilty in the past for not using every single minute of your time, such as if you do have a vacation where you aren't going to an all-inclusive where you're just going to lounge in the sun all day, but even on a weekend, if we have an extra day, if you feel guilty for not using every single moment of that extra time to run your errands, do your chores, meal prep, whatever it is, I get it, and I've been there. I feel like just resting on the couch sometimes, or just sitting for hours outside. I do feel guilty for not filling the space with something that I could do now instead of later. You know what I mean? But rest isn't something that you need to earn. You don't have to deserve a slow day, because we always deserve a slow day. You deserve to take time, and you're allowed to take up space for yourself, which also means taking a rest, which means slowing down. Create regular pauses before your body forces you to, because as I said before, life will make you slow down whether you like it or not, whether you want to or not. So why don't you just allow those pauses in your life in the moments that you actually want to take a rest, instead of going and then not expecting a pause, but you need to because of injury or circumstance, whatever it may be. Things that you can do even to create pause, to create space and time to reflect. Like, you can disconnect from your technology, you can set better boundaries, you can romanticize your mornings before work, you can take walks without your phone. That's such a lovely one. You can sip that coffee slowly. You can do less, but all of that, I think, has more meaning with it. And I truly believe that these aren't luxuries that we get to have. Like, these are necessities for a life we want to live that aligns with our soul, that provides us peace and comfort and clarity. So wherever you're listening from today, whether it's in your car, whether you're on a walk, maybe you're laying on your bed, amazing. I just want you to take all of this as your gentle reminder that you're not behind if you take a rest. You are not lazy by taking a rest. You are allowed to slow down. And I want you to let stillness be a form of productivity. Let rest be sacred. And I want you to watch how when you do that, life opens up when you stop trying to fill every single second. You guys, that is the episode that I have for you today. I just want to thank you again for joining me on today's episode of Soulful Living with Megs. You are spectacular. If you feel like this episode would resonate with a friend, if you feel like you need to remind a loved one to slow down because they are running around in a hamster ball like me, or in real life running around in an inside inflatable ball and then they hurt themselves like I did, let this be their reminder to take a break, to slow down. It does not mean that they are lazy. It does not mean that they're behind. But I would really appreciate it if you could share it with a friend. And I hope your week is filled with endless opportunities of joy and love and light. I'm sending all of that beautiful energy to you, so I hope that you feel it. And in tune with today's episode, I hope that your week is filled with moments of pause and those soft reminders to breathe, and hopefully every little spark of joy in the spaces between, because you absolutely deserve it. And until next time, I really want you to be gentle with yourself. Give yourself grace. Please, you don't give yourself enough grace. So I'm going to remind you, please give yourself some grace. You are doing fantastic. But I cannot wait to connect with you next Monday and yeah, love you guys. I'll talk to you super, super soon. Okay, bye.